Hello, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry. This is episode 9, I believe, and I'm thinking today's gonna be a long one. I'm gonna go for a little longer than usual just because I have the time. And maybe we'll get even more, drama or intrigue. Regardless, let's get started. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce you all to my Umineko Episode 1 character tier list. Yeah, that's right. I painstakingly spent a few hours drawing out little icons of all of the characters just to make a tier list. We have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and F tier. First up, starting with, uh, let's start with S tier. We have Battler. Yeah, that's right. I really like this little guy. A lot of the stuff sorry, not a lot. Some of the stuff he says, no, thank you. But other than that, he's a solid protagonist and I enjoy his presence. Then we have Ava. Again, some of the stuff she says, like some of the way she interacts with Natsuhi rubs me the wrong way, but other than that, she's pretty silly. Love her. Then we have Jessica, who has basically done no wrong. I love her. I mean, she's a goofy gal and she stands up to Battler. Then we have Kiri. Gosh, I love Kiri. She is probably the most level-headed adult out of all of the adults. Okay, next up in A tier, we're starting with Cannon, who I mean, he's done no wrong, and same with Shannon, who's right by him. Then we have George, who, I mean, he's a nice guy. Doesn't stand out, but he's a nice guy. And then there's Maria, who, uh, I mean, she's just a girl. Come on. Anybody who hates on her is a little strange. Then we have B tier, who has the most people in there. We have Rudolph, Rosa, Nanjo, Kumasawa, and Natsuhi, all because they're adults who have their faults. I mean, okay, not so much Nanjo and Kumasawa, because both of them haven't really done anything integral to the plot, but they're also not like horrible people, which is good, I guess. Then we have C tier. Here we have Genji. Sorry, I don't know why I forgot his name. We have Genji and Hideyoshi. Neither of which, I mean, they haven't really stuck out to me as characters. And finally, in F tier, these are the people I hate. And I'm sure you could probably tell by how I've spoken about them in past episodes. We start out with Kraus. Gosh, that guy. Then we have the bane of my existence, Goda. Ugh, that guy. That prick. Then we have Kinzo. I mean, I like him as a character, but I hate him. Come on, I mean, all of this is his fault. Also, dude, just leave Beatrice alone. Alright, that's the Umineko tier list. I don't know how often I'll be updating it and showing you guys, but I think whenever something major happens regarding characters, I'll update it. But I can't see it changing that much. But I don't know. We'll see. We still got plenty more left in episode 1. Okay, now back to the story. The wind had grown very strong, and roses shook throughout the garden like ripples on the water. This might be our last chance to see these beautiful roses. I'll bet tonight's typhoon ruins them. These roses might be done in by tonight's winds. You're right. Still, I think the roses were pretty lucky. After all, they got to welcome all of you before the typhoon. All flowers lose their petals eventually. But that means we can admire them even more when they're in bloom. That's right. Maria, burn this image into your eyes. At this moment, they're the best roses of the year.
Burnt into eyes.
Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she'd remembered something. My rose! The typhoon will send it flying. Oh. Oh, you mean that sad-looking rose in Georgianiki marked with a ribbon? Or rose Georgianiki marked with a ribbon? Maria apparently remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her. Who? Who? Where was that again? I'm sure it was somewhere around here. We searched everywhere around that area, but it was only a single flower among all these roses after all. You guys marked it for this explicit purpose of finding it again. Even though we knew it was somewhere close by, we weren't able to find it. The winds making up the typhoon's front lines made roses throughout the garden undulate. Strange word. But, I mean, sure. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find. Maybe it wasn't here. Let's try spreading out a bit in our search. Sounds good. Let's go for strength in numbers. Well, at least Battler's, like, using common sense this time, and he's not trying to say magic or witches aren't real. What's up, Maria? As we made the split up and search, Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. You could tell that she didn't want us to leave that spot. What is it? What's wrong? My rose is here. It's here. But it's not... It's actually not, right? Maybe it was on the other side of the flower bed. If we all look, we'll find it fast, okay? It's here! My rose is here! Look for it! Look for it! Is she hitting you? Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She pointed at that spot and said it was definitely there, but in actuality, it wasn't. Even so, Maria got mad when we said we were going to search somewhere, or search elsewhere. We were at a loss for what to do. For a while, we had to stay near Maria and pretend to search through that rose thicket. I feel bad for her. I mean, the rose really does mean a lot, and I think it's harder for her to articulate why it means so much and why it's so important to her. Not here. Not here. Not here. Maybe she's saying that it should be here, but it isn't. Maria became increasingly irritated. Oh man. Maria's really losing her temper. Sometimes Maria starts to really care about really pointless stuff. If she gets what she wants, that's okay, but you can't find something that isn't there. That's not good. Just when we were at a loss of what to do, Maria called out in a loud voice. Mama! We could see Aunt Rosa in the direction Maria was waving her hand. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came. Or maybe she had some business at the guest house. Aunt Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over. My, what happened, everyone? Are you looking for something? Look for it! Mama, you look for my rose too! Oh. Your rose? We found an unhealthy rose around here and marked it. We tied a candy wrapper around it. But Maria, if I remember correctly, it was growing right in front and actually stood out, didn't it? Unless it grew legs and ran off somewhere, it must have been somewhere else. Maybe you remembered it wrong. Oh, it is here. It is here. Paddler doesn't believe. Oh. How many times do I have to tell you to stop saying ooh before you understand? Mama will look for it, so stay quiet. I'd never seen Aunt Rosa be anything other than kind and gentle, so her anger surprised me a bit. Aunt Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being. But we were already more than sure that it wasn't around here. So it didn't take long for Aunt Rosa to realize that too. The rose isn't here. Did you mistake this place for somewhere else? There are so many roses around. That's wrong. It is here. Mama doesn't believe. I already believed you and looked hard for it, didn't I? But it isn't here. But it is here. It is here, but it isn't. Then someone must have ripped it out. Anyway, stop saying ooh. Who ripped out my rose? Who did it? Give it back, give it back. How should I know? Stop it, stop saying who. Aunt Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. In that instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected, she started yelling even louder. My rose! My rose! Didn't I tell you to stop that weird habit? That's why all the kids in your class make fun of you. Cut it out! Rosa, I don't think this is the way to handle this. I don't think... Oh my god. Once again, her palm slapped Maria's cheek. Jesus! This time she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying and began to bawl in an increasingly loud voice. Aunt Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand once more to try and shut her daughter up. Aunt Rosa? No, she's just a little kid, so there's no reason to get so serious. I tried to cut in with a bitter smile, rubbing my hands together, but Aunt Rosa glared at me with a serious face, and I realized that I should have stayed out of this. I'm sorry, but could the rest of you go back to your room for a bit? I need to have a little talk with Maria. Nobody believes in my rose, even though it was here. Look for it! Look for it! It was here! But it's not here. So you must have confused this place for somewhere else, right? It is here. It's definitely here. Then it disappeared. Give it up. Why? Why did it disappear? Why? Why? I don't know that. So stop saying who. Aunt Rosa once again raised her hand, overcome by emotion, and slapped Maria's cheek. It was strong enough to knock Maria over. Jeez. Oh my god. Hey, Aunt Rosa. If she is your daughter, violence isn't the answer. I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground, crying ooh. I knew that, as an outsider, problems between parent and child were none of my business. But I wasn't brought up to just silently observe something like this. Don't you think it's weird, Battler-kun? Are there any girls at your school who mutter ooh? Well, I am in high school, but for an elementary schooler, I think saying ooh is pretty cute. Cute? Saying ooh is cute? Cute? My careless words seemed to have earned me Aunt Rosa's wrath. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression. Don't say such nonsense. Do you know how old Maria is? She's 9. She's a 4th grader, not a kindergartner. But she still makes that sound during class. Don't you get it? Do you know what they say about this kid when they bully her? Thanks to this weird habit, she still hasn't made a single friend. Don't turn your eyes from reality and carelessly call Maria cute. Think more seriously about this kid's future. I told you stop making that sound. Didn't I tell you to stop it? Aunt Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unhappy voice was rising. I tried to stop it, but Aunt Rosa pushed me away. My back hit Georgianiki. A long time ago, Aunt Rosa also thought of it as nothing more than one of Maria Chan's baby words. But now that it hasn't been fixed even midway through elementary school, she's been worrying about it a lot. I mean, I think she's gone past the point of worrying now. She's straight up going to hitting her child. How she talks isn't really that big of a deal, right? She'll never make it as an adult if she's like that. So, even though it isn't fun to watch, this is a problem between parent and child. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be solved like this. Well, even I get chewed out by Mom all the time because of how I talk. When you put it that way, maybe even a scene as painful as this isn't something an outsider like me should butt in on. Battler-kun, when you were a kid, didn't you have any bad habits that you couldn't fix that got you into trouble? Well, one or two, but my dad didn't hit me. On Parents' Day once, I kept getting yelled at in front of everyone, and it was embarrassing as all hell. Well then, you can understand how the two of them must feel right now. I'm sure they don't want us to be here now. You understand too, don't you, Jessica-chan? I don't think anyone likes to be seen when they're scolded. Let's go. We'll return to the guest house. Then, after Maria-chan comes back, let's welcome her as if nothing happened. That's probably for the best, isn't it? We thought Georgianiki's point was probably a reasonable one, and we may have been eager to use that reasonable-sounding argument as a justification to retreat from this heart-rending scene. Jessica and I nodded at Georgianiki, and we all left. We called towards Maria, telling her that we were going to head to the guest house, but she didn't seem to hear, and we felt sort of guilty and shameless after saying it. In that case, look by yourself as much as you want. Mama doesn't care. I'll look for it. I'll look for it by myself, even if Mama doesn't care. Have it your way! After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heels and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold gesture meant to injure. That wasn't Rosa's intention. It was because the hand with which she had so emotionally struck Maria's cheek was still numb. Jesus, you were hitting your daughter that hard? It was because if she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continue slapping her daughter's cheek over and over. After Rosa left, Maria was left alone in the rose garden. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while, a raindrop would fall on her forehead. However, Maria couldn't leave that place, not until she found that poor, wilting rose. It had definitely been there. Even so, it wasn't. Even though she knew the place, and even though it had been there, it wasn't. Maria bitterly stared at the place it was supposed to be and thought frantically. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. While gazing at a single point, Maria repeatedly stood up, changed her position, and continued to stare. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, but Maria kept on looking for that rose in front of the flower bed. Well, what if Beatrice did this? What if this is Beatrice's thing? She's trying to sow discourse amongst the family. First we have the adult argument, now we have this. We just gotta tear more people apart. Kenzo noticed the sound of the raindrops beating on the window. It seemed to be pouring down thickly. It had begun to rain later than the weather report had predicted. Kenzo approached the window as if being summoned by the sound of the rain. The sound of the rain, or the sound of rain is a sound of silence. No? No, it's not, but, I mean, for the sake of metaphor, sure. That sound feels quieter than any silence, and makes humans remember that, in the end, they are alone from the moment they're born to the moment they die. You're late, Beatrice. Were those words directed at the rainy sky? There was no one to be seen in the direction of Kinzo's gaze. Well then, let us begin. Let us begin our banquet of miracles. This island has now been cut off from the world. Now there are none who can interrupt my ceremony. Oh. Oh shit. There are many fitting sacrifices for you. 4 of my children, 3 of their companions, 4 of my grandchildren, me and my guests and my servants. You may devour as many as you please. The key of fate will select the sacrifices in accordance with the demon's roulette. If that roulette chooses me, even I will become your sacrifice. However, because of that, because I will bet on such madness, I will most assuredly bring forth a grand miracle. Come, devour to your heart's content. I will achieve victory over that roulette. Yes, I'll put everything on the line. First, I'll return the inheritance of the Ushirmiya family. Accept it. Oh my god. Wow. Hold on, like, for 2 seconds. Wait, 4, 8, 11, 14, 18. Oh man, I counted so wrong. I've been working on my tier list for the characters, right? And so I've been drawing the characters, just little icons of them, you know? Well, you've seen them already, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Me post-production of that. And for some reason I got in my head that there were 15 characters, and so I completely forgot to draw all 3 of the spouses. So I had to go back and do that, because my bad. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I had to go back and draw those guys. I mean, I even drew Nanjo. I drew Nanjo, but I forgot about Natsuhi and Kiri. Like, what? But no, sorry, that's not why I was here. I wanted to... So there's 18 people. How many die? I already forgot. 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 13. And then another 5 die. Okay, so the 6 people I want to die... Let's see, well, Rosa has gone down on the tier list. I think I had her at B tier before. She's gone down because of the actions she just did. Whew. But okay, let's see. I need Kraus. He's dead first day. Hinzo, he can die first day. I don't mind. Goda, he can die first day. I don't give a shit. He can die. Okay, that's 3 people. Okay, now this is kind of where it gets hard, because I do like some of these characters over other ones. Okay. Okay, Rosa's actions kind of deserve for her to get stuck in there with them, so that's 4. Man, I kind of really do like a lot of the servants and the people. See, like, I have a love-hate relationship with Rudolph. I don't think he deserves to die. But it's not like I can put him above some of the other characters. Like, I like the cousins a lot better than I like Rudolph. I like Ava a lot. She's odd, but I like her. I mean, watch me get my hopes up for some of these people dying, and then, like, all the ones I do like end up dying on the first Twilight. I mean, everyone's gonna end up dead, so I don't know why I'm You know what? Let's continue. Kento tore the window open, ripped the golden ring off his finger, and forcefully threw it away. At that time, the sound of thunder rang out, giving the illusion that the lightning had accepted the ring. And when you are resurrected, surely I will be the one who stands witness. I will survive until the end and watch over you as you awaken. So come, Beatrice. Welcome to my banquet. In exchange for all that I have created, show me another miracle just this once. Oh, Beatrice. Oh, time passing. Let's see. We're at 5 to 6 p.m. Does Twilight mean midnight? Does stuff change at midnight? So does that mean I still have 6 hours to go? A news ticker popped up on top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing. This rain's incredible. Still, when it's raining this hard, it also feels like it might stop at any moment. You wish. They said the typhoon's moving slow, so it might be like this all day tomorrow. And even a little bad weather stops the boats from coming. Looks like we won't be able to head out on Sunday after all. Just in case, I cleared all outside business from my Monday schedule, and I'm glad I did. Well, if this banquet goes how, the epitaph predicts, you're not making it to any future business, George. Sorry to say. Which means, looks like we'll get to skip school Monday. Living on an island starting to sound pretty good. I'm confused on how Jessica goes to school. Because, you know, she lives on the island. Does she take a boat, like, to and from the mainland every day? Does she? I feel like that'd be miserable. Because I forgot how long they said the boat trip was. Come to think of it, Jessica, you've got to take a... Okay, I should just shut up. I should just be quiet, maybe? Maybe I should just stop thinking? Come to think of it, Jessica, you've got to take a boat to school every day, don't you? What do you do when the boats stop running? Do you stay home when it rains and show up late when the wind's blowing, like King Kamehameha? Kamehameha? How do you say it? I mean, I know how they say it in, like, Dragon Ball, but then I hear some people say Kamehameha. That sounds more right. King Kamehameha. Kamehameha. Okay. I don't really watch Dragon Ball. I mean, I've seen some of it, but, like, I'm not one of those Goku power scalers. If the boats don't come, I stay home. Still, it's not as good as it sounds. Usually I'm ordered to study by myself, and it's not that fun when someone's standing right behind you watching everything you do. During the rainy season, does the weather ever stay bad for a long time and make you miss a bunch of days in a row? That does happen sometimes. Still, I'd get a call from my homeroom teacher every single day who'd sourly guide me on how I should teach myself and what I had to turn in. She can't skip school as easily as you're imagining Battler could. She's got to follow the rules for people that travel to school by boat and get a good amount of studying done. It'd actually be easier to just go to school. Oops. In my own room, I get distracted and can't concentrate. Actually, real. After being made to do nothing but workbooks for several days straight, it's pretty hard to handle all that mental stress. When I get into college, I really just want to go to some dorm and quickly say goodbye to this inconvenient island. Ah, okay. By the way, what do you do when the weather's good in the morning, but then get so bad on your way home that the boats are closed? You spend the night at school? That actually happens a lot. Because of that, they've built some lodgings there for people who can't get back to the island they live on. That's where you'd spend the night. Sometimes when it gets really bad, you can't get home for a few days at a time. Someone commuting to school or work on a train packed to twice its capacity might carelessly think that commuting by boat would be pretty interesting and fun. But it sounds like it comes with troubles of its own. You hear thoughtless tourists saying stuff like that all the time. I've had enough of island life. I really want to just graduate high school and say goodbye to this island. But there are all dorm schools even for high school, right? Why'd you choose that Nijima school of all places? I've wanted to go to one of those from the beginning. My mom's always going on about how I need to learn manners and discipline as the successor. So I ended up sticking close to home even for high school. Man, I hate this island. I just want to go live in a city. I don't care if rain or even spears fall from the sky, as long as I can move to a city where I can wear casual clothes and sandals and can get to a convenience store in less than 5 minutes. Hold out just a little longer. Just a bit more and you'll graduate high school, right? I can't wait a little longer. Jessica stretched out and reclined in the sofa. Maybe it was a bad time slot because there wasn't any interesting programs on. And we had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin room after all. Aunt Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. No, she's actually still out there, guys. Guys, she's out there! Oh my god, she's out there! Guys! It had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults had a confusing conversation. We thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather really was awful. And since there wasn't much time until dinner, we stayed where we were. Shannon! At that time, we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered. Yes! The preparations for dinner are complete. Please come to the mansion. Oh, it's Cannon. Damn! Okay. It was Cannon-kun's voice. Did he go to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to get us? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route. No, furniture's not allowed to use technology. Oh, I didn't mean to press that. It's my bad. Just when I was getting hungry. Let's go. George and Nikki turned off the television and stood up. My stomach's been growling for a while. I've always been a huge fan of the main family's dinners. And didn't Goda-san say it was calf steak or something? Oh, I can't wait. Our dinners are always even more fabulous than usual when the family conference comes around. Even I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, let's go. As we left the room, Cannon-kun bowed silently and respectfully. Okay, let's go. Is the rain pretty nasty out there? Yes. Take care not to get your garments wet. After seeing the three of us out, Cannon-kun peered into the empty room. Wasn't Maria-sama with you? No, she's not. Wasn't she with Aunt Rosa? Guys. Maria's gonna get, like, pneumonia or something. She's gonna get consumption. Rosa was lying on a sofa in the empty parlor, having fallen asleep before she knew it. She was bearing a burden that the children couldn't even imagine. That's why she only needed to let her guard down a little before the weariness immediately dragged her into the world of sleep. Realizing this, Genji brought a blanket over to her. When he tried to spread it over her, her eyes snapped open as though she'd been shocked with electricity. Thank you, Genji-san. When she realized that the thing that had touched her was just a blanket and that Genji had been considerately giving it to her, she let out a sigh of relief. Did I wake you? My sincere apologies. No, it's okay. I hadn't planned on sleeping in the first place. What time is it now? When he was asked for the time, Genji checked a pocket watch that he took out of his chest pocket. It is slightly after 6 p.m. 6. Rosa gave her head a little shake when she realized that not much time had actually passed, even though it felt like she'd slept for ages. Even though she didn't feel rested at all, the drowsiness that had enveloped her must have been pretty deep. Thank you. I'll be fine without the blanket. I mustn't sleep at such a strange time. My sense of time has been completely thrown off. The rain has finally started pouring down in earnest, hasn't it? Rosa finally realized that the peaceful sound that had put her to sleep was actually the rain. The wind's blowing hard too. No wonder if the typhoon's finally here. That's what they said on TV. The typhoon is moving slowly, so they think it will be like this all day tomorrow. Really? So our last chance to see that wonderful rose garden must have already passed by. Yes. By the way, your daughter's still out there. I hope you feel like shit. From the window, what she could see of the rose garden was completely blurred by the wind and the rain. Maria. That's right, what about Maria? I have not seen her. Did she not return to the guest house? Rosa knew her daughter's nature well, so a chill ran down her spine. Maria was stubbornly honest, and if she was ordered to find something that didn't exist, she would look forever and ever, even in pouring rain. No. The cousins left before I did, so Maria was alone. Unless someone told her to stop, she'd stay there even if it started raining spears, without even opening an umbrella. How could I have lost control of my emotions and done such a thing? Even though she'd known about Maria's simple honesty better than anyone, she'd once again lost control of her emotions and done something terrible. Maria! Rosa pushed Genji away and ran down the hall. Uh-oh. The outside really looked like a typhoon, and the rain was pouring down spectacularly. Maybe because of some aspect of the terrain, the winds weren't typhoon class, so an umbrella wouldn't be torn out of one's hands. Even so, it certainly was a windy rain. There was no time to admire the roses being drenched. Anyway, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You know, I just thought about it. I think I said way back in episode 1 that I had, tried to mess with the code. So I could get the CGs to show up, even if they are the pachinko CGs. And if I recall, there's supposed to be one in the Rose Garden. And seeing as I didn't see any CGs, I'm assuming that we aren't getting any CGs. Hope you guys don't mind. My bad. Well, actually, it's not my bad. It's the game's bad for, you know, not, like, putting them in the game. I mean, no, they're in the game, you just can't access them. Unless you mess with the code, and clearly either I didn't correctly mess with the code, or it just flat out doesn't work. Regardless, let's return. Anyway, I'm getting pretty worried about Maria. You don't think she's still rebelliously searching for that rose alone, do you? I wonder. Surely she wouldn't do it in this rain. Or at least I wish I could believe that, but Maria-chan sometimes gets really stubborn and intensely straightforward. We hadn't worried much, thinking that Aunt Rosa had taken her back to the mansion, like, you know, a normal, regular parent would do. However, when Cat had come from the mansion to call us and thought Maria was here, we got a little worried. I did not see her in the mansion, so I was sure she was here. After all, Rosa-sama was taking a nap. You didn't see her on your way over here? My apologies. I opened my umbrella and ran as fast as I could, so I did not pay much attention. If he had cut through the rose garden, taking the shortest line between the mansion and the guest house, then he would have just barely missed the place where Maria had been looking for her rose. And it was raining this hard, too. It certainly would have been possible for Kanekun to fail to notice her. Instead of arguing around here, it'd just be faster to check it out directly. Aniki, why don't we race over there? Oh, do you think you can beat me now that you've been growing for 6 years? Okay, let's settle this. Go! George, Aniki, and I flew out into the rain. Jessica and Kanekun followed us. Maria! If you're there, answer me! Maria! It's Aunt Rosa. Hey, Aunt Rosa! When George and Nikki called back, Aunt Rosa jumped at him and grabbed onto him. Where's Maria? Isn't she with you? No, we didn't meet with Maria-chan after that. Maria! 6 years ago, Maria was 3 years old. She was a cute and pure kid who just accepted whatever anyone said. But 6 years have passed since then. She's 9 now and experiences the ups and downs of life. Should have taught her something. But Maria, are you telling me you're still as innocent and pure as you used to be? Maria! As I circled the rose bed, something white unexpectedly turned to face me. It was a white umbrella. Oh, huh? Maria was crouching down, holding a white umbrella and still searching for that rose. Her face, which had turned bright red from crying her eyes out, was dirtied with water and mud. It was a truly pitiful sight. Maria, are you still looking? Can't find it. Can't find my rose. Maria had probably been here since the rain started pouring down. Her shoulders were freezing. She looked tired to the bone, but fortunately, since she was holding an umbrella, she wasn't completely soaked. The umbrella probably came from the handbag Maria always carried around. Thank goodness. Seriously, thank goodness. Battler-kun, thank goodness you found her. Maria! I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Aunt Rosa threw her umbrella aside and hugged Maria. Oh, it's not here. My rose isn't here. Oh. I'll look for it with you later, okay? So just put it on hold for today, okay? Put it on hold for today. It looked like Maria still wasn't able to accept it, but she no longer had enough energy to resist. Jessica and Kanekun caught up with us. I'll have a towel ready in the mansion immediately. Maria, were you here this whole time? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being such a bad mother. Aunt Rosa, why don't we head back to the mansion for the time being? If we stay here, Maria will catch a cold. You're right. Maria, let's go. We don't get you cleaned up, Grandfather will be mad. Hungry. It's already time to eat. You did a good job holding out, Maria. Once the weather gets better, we'll all go search together. We couldn't stay in the rain forever. We took Maria with us as we headed back to the mansion. Maria apparently wasn't as worn out as I thought. When she remembered we were having calf steak for dinner, she started chanting, I'm hungry, and returned to her usual spirited self. Aunt Rosa didn't chide Maria for saying, ooh. I see. So she had an umbrella on her. Maria sure is good at packing the right stuff. I didn't bring an umbrella. What? And how did you get that white umbrella you're holding? I borrowed it. Some caring person must have brought her an umbrella. A normal kid would look for shelter once it started raining, but Maria was too stubborn to give up so easily. So maybe that caring person gave up on telling Maria to find shelter and then decided to at least give her an umbrella. I see. I'll have to thank that person. Who was it? Beatrice! Sorry, that sound effect, bro. Oh, I just got a shiver. That also might be because I'm kind of cold. High key. The name Maria cheerfully mentioned was that of the island's witch. Rosa took a deep breath and asked again, trying to do so in a way that wouldn't damage Maria's good mood. Really? That's wonderful, my sweetiekins. So who was it? Who brought you that umbrella? Beatrice. I don't get the division. I'm sure it has something to do with the Japanese pronunciation of Beatrice. They say Beatrice. Beatrice? Something like that. Beatrice. Maria immediately realized that her mother didn't believe her and started crying out unhappily again. So Rosa stopped pursuing the subject. It'd probably be faster to ask whoever lent Maria the umbrella during dinner rather than ask Maria herself. You know, it's crazy that there's only like 5 servants on this whole giant, or at least 5 that matter. Because, you know, island is huge as this, there's probably supposed to be like a whole lot more, but I guess for simplicity's sake. Father, please at least join us for dinner. It won't be a family conference otherwise. Along with a dull pounding on the door, the sound of Krause's entreaty could be heard. However, that voice seemed to be resigned to the fact that nothing it said would be heard. I wouldn't fucking listen to Krause either, bro. Kinzo-san, won't you at least come out for dinner? All your children have gathered here to see your face, haven't they? Silence, Nanjo. So the bishop won't work. One move too short. Apparently, Kinzo was completely focused on the final battle of his long-lasting chess match with Nanjo. Kinzo's brow was wrinkled as he continued to glare at the game board through his spectacles. Krause's voice didn't reach his ears. Kinzo-san, I'm hungry myself. Why don't we go down and eat? You go yourself, you old man! I hate my family. Go by yourself if that's what you want. Let me consider this next move for a little longer. We are going to finish it tonight. 'Cause after tonight we're all gonna, like, be dead or something similar to that. Oh, shit. Huh. Sorry, I was looking at something. Otherwise, it's doubtful we'll finish before the world ends. Nanji rose from his seat, hoping this would prompt Kinzo to do the same, but Kinzo's eyes never left the chessboard. He knew well that Kinzo always displayed a blind concentration when it came to chess. But he'd never seen Kinzo concentrate as hard as this. It was almost as though Kinzo was telling the truth, and there would never be another chance for them to continue their contest if they didn't finish tonight. It seemed that, no matter how obstinately he called out to Kinzo, it wouldn't reach the latter's heart. Nanjo gave up and headed to the door that Krause was still banging on. The door to the study opened. Krause was taken aback, thinking that maybe Kinzo was actually coming out. However, Nanjo was the one who appeared, and Krause let out a sigh of relief. Dr. Nanjo, his father... I'm sorry I couldn't be of service. Right now, this room is Kinzo-san's whole world. Nanjo shook his head with a completely defeated expression. Krause raised his fist once more and banged on the door, shouting, Father, can you hear me? We're heading down now, but please join us any time you feel like it. All of your children are waiting for you. His voice was very loud, and he was making a racket pounding on the door. There was no way it wouldn't reach Kinzo's ears. But he's rage-baiting his son. Well, it certainly was reaching him, but he ignored it anyway. However, unlike the time he'd been called down for lunch, he didn't fly into a rage. By now, Kenzo was calm at heart, almost as though he had taken on a philosophical view and turned himself over to fate. He just knows he's gonna see his baby girl Beatrice soon enough. He just knows the time grows near. I had a thought, and I just immediately forgot. Crazy. Calm at heart. Yeah, I don't remember what I was gonna say. Neither dinner nor the faces of my children interest me in the slightest. I will only leave here if Beatrice is resurrected, or if I am chosen as a sacrifice for the key. The demon's roulette has already started spinning. What meaning does dinner have at this point? As though the painfully loud banging on the door completely failed to enter his hearing, Kenzo silently thought about his next chess move, still in his philosophical state. Just as always, Kenzo's figure couldn't be seen anywhere in the dining hall. Kraus, wearing a bitter smile, returned with Nanjo. Father says he is still not feeling well. He truly regrets missing this once-a-year opportunity to sit together with his gathered family. Ava and Rudolph Given Kenzo's personality, there was no way he'd show signs of regret. And none of his relatives showed any regret at his absence. Then why don't we start dinner? Goda, begin. Certainly. Well then, if you will allow me. When Goda was told to start the family conference dinner, his biggest time to shine of the whole year, he nodded with a broad grin. May I ask who lent Maria an umbrella? When Rosa timidly cut through the silence of the dining hall, everyone noticed. An umbrella? What's this about? A short while back, Maria was in a rose garden when it started raining, and she apparently borrowed a white umbrella from somebody. I wanted to thank them. It wasn't one of us. After you left, we moved to a different room and had a friendly chat that whole time. That's right. Even after that, the siblings had a real friendly chat. The word friendly fell awkwardly from Hideyoshi's lips, so even those who hadn't been present could tell the conversation hadn't been a pleasant one. At the very least, it couldn't have been me, Ava, Rudolph, Hideyoshi-san, or Kiri-san. We were together the whole time, even after Natsuhini-san and Rosa-san left. The whole time until the meal started. Ni-san went up to the study with Genji-san to call father. At that time, the rest of us went straight to the dining hall. So it wasn't one of us. Couldn't it have been a servant kind enough to lend an umbrella? So it was you, Goda-san. I have been in the kitchen the whole time preparing. My sincerest apologies. Godo looked slightly disappointed about missing this chance to show off because he's a smarmy little asshole. At that time, Shannon and Kumasawa appeared, pushing a serving cart loaded with I always hate saying this because I never know. Hors d'oeuvres. It's because it's fucking French. They don't say half the letters that are in words. Then what about Kumasawa-san or Shannon-chan? Yes? Has something gone wrong? Because Shannon had come in part way, she shrank back, mistakenly thinking that the others were searching for the one responsible for some error. It isn't like that. It started to rain when Maria-chan was alone in the rose garden. After that, someone lent her an umbrella. Aunt Rosa said she wanted to thank that person. Beatrice. Maria, her mouth a thin line, said the witch's name in a small voice. You know, if Kenzo had been at this dinner and he heard Maria talk about Beatrice, I'm sure he'd love his family more. Or maybe if Maria talked about Beatrice outside of his door, Kenzo would come down, he'd be like, Fuck it, family! Love you guys, you know what? Screw me dying first. I'm just gonna give you all my inheritance now! Or maybe just give it all to Maria. Even though he thinks... Aunt Rosa explained the situation one more time. As she did, Kumasawa-san cackled. Oh, it wasn't us. Shannon-san and I were preparing the rooms together, so we did not go outside. Yes, I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of assistance. Preparing the rooms? What do you mean by that? Because of the rain, we thought it would be troublesome for all of the guests to return to the guest house, so the servants were ordered to prepare the guest rooms inside the mansion. Really? How thoughtful! Yes, it certainly would be rude to chase us outside in this rain. Could you give it a rest? Yes. After receiving the order from Madam, Kumasawa-san, Kainen-kun, and I started preparing the rooms. Then it became time for dinner, so Genji-sama ordered Kainen-kun to go to the guest house and summon the children. Yes. So did Kanen-san find Maria on the way to the guest house and hand her the umbrella? Wrong! The person who had actually received the umbrella denied it. Rosa was troubled. All she wanted to do was give a word of thanks to the person who had lent the umbrella, but she couldn't find them. And she thought asking like this with everyone gathered for dinner would work immediately. Then was it you, Natsuhide-san? I'm sorry. After everyone's friendly chat, my headache was so bad that I've been resting in my room. Therefore, I did not go outside. Then who was it? George-kun and the kids? That can't be right. No, it wasn't us. We were watching television in the guest house the whole time. Actually, we thought Maria had just gone back to the mansion with you. Then Kanen-kun came and he asked whether Maria was with us. That's when we first realized she wasn't in the mansion. I mean, if it were me, I'd have grabbed her hand and pulled her under a roof before giving her an umbrella. Rosa was completely baffled. One by one, the relatives and servants denied that they had done it, even though it really wasn't something anyone would need to hide. So by process of elimination, the number of remaining candidates wasn't large. Yeah, you got Kinzo and Nanjo. And we both know that Kinzo hasn't left his office since 1985. Oh, this music. I don't like this music. I'm a little freaked. Of course it wasn't me. Right after it began raining, I visited Kinzo-san's room and I was playing chess with him until just now. Which means that it also wasn't grandfather. Wait a sec. Isn't this starting to get a bit weird? Who's left? Then who was it? Genji-san? Huh? Wait a second, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm searching for some culprit or anything. All I want to do is, as a mother, thank the person who gave Maria an umbrella in the middle of the rain. Giving an umbrella to a girl loitering in the rain was something to be praised, not hidden. Despite that, no one raised their hand. Why not? Everyone started whispering about how strange this was getting. Calm down, Rosa. Why don't we just ask the person who lent the umbrella? That's what everyone had been thinking since the beginning. They were all scratching their heads at why she didn't just ask Maria, who had been given the umbrella. However, Rosa bit her lower lip. After all, she already knew how Maria would answer if asked. Of course, Rudolph Gunhere's got it right. Maria-chan, tell your uncle. Who lent you the umbrella? Beatrice! The dining hall was wrapped in silence for an instant, but it was soon interrupted by a burst of laughter. I see, so Beatrice, the witch of the forest, felt pity and lent her an umbrella. What a lovely story. Rosa, there you have it. Rosa couldn't believe it. Even though she just wanted to say thanks for the umbrella, why did everything have to be so clouded in smoke? Just like Uncle Kraus said. Beatrice let me borrow it. What the fuck is this kid talking about, bro? Isn't that wonderful? We should all be jealous of such purity. What do you think, everyone? Ross was laughing with a face that was clearly mocking. But Maria was overjoyed, apparently convinced that her claim was being believed. How did that work? Does that mean a witch really appeared and lent her an umbrella? Jessica asked me in a small voice that really went. Oh. I don't know. Okay. Or Maria, who was sitting across from me. Has Maria ever been the type to make jokes? If we'd heard that kind of story pop out of my old bastard's mouth, we would have just taken it as another joke. However, it was hard to explain it away like that when Maria said it. This is getting pretty unnerving. No way. She's always been frank and serious. She's the sort who'd believe any joke, even ones normal people could instantly tell her lies. I've never even heard of her cracking a joke. Aunt Rosa probably knew that better than anyone. It appeared that because of this weird situation, she had no idea what was going on anymore. So if Maria says she borrowed an umbrella from Beatrice, that must mean it really was Beatrice? We're talking about Maria here, so I can't think of it as some kind of metaphor or joke. It might be best to take what she says at face value. Now what's going on? Are you saying that Genji-san or someone put on that fancy dress from the portrait and gave Maria the umbrella? Why was your first thought Genji? What? Your first thought of the person who put the dress on was this guy? I'm sorry, just imagining. Oh my god. You know, it so bothers me that there's just a blank space right here. It's throwing me. I mean, I know it's because there's no husband or... But, you know, it's blank. I'm not sure about that. Actually, that's what I want to know. Jessica shrugged jokingly, but her expression didn't completely match her attitude. Once the hors d'oeuvres were set out and Goda showed off his vast store of knowledge, the meal began. A couple casual chats broke out here and there, but they seemed somehow distant. And the meal ended up being so quiet that you couldn't ignore the sound of the rain sneaking into the dining hall. Kumasawa and Shannon, pushing the serving cart, ran into Genji and Cannon on their way to the kitchen. Ah, it's Genji-san. Did you lend Maria-san an umbrella? An umbrella? What are you talking about? Well, I heard that when it started raining, Maria-sama was alone in the rose garden. It seems she borrowed an umbrella from somebody there. But we don't know who it was. It wasn't me. After all, I actually thought Maria-sama was in the guest house. When Battler-sama first found her, she was already holding a white umbrella. My apologies, but it was not me either. Then, could it actually be the master? Both in the dining hall and right here, everyone had stated that they hadn't done it. That left only Kinzo, but maybe he went walking down the corridor for some reason, when he just happened to see Maria-sama in the rose garden without even an umbrella. Does he really have that kind of kindness in his heart? The master is not particularly fond of Maria-sama. I agree. I can't imagine that, for Maria-sama's sake, he'd go to all the trouble of descending the stairs with an umbrella. Oh my, how troublesome. Does that mean the one who lent Maria-sama an umbrella really was Beatrice-sama? Oh ho ho ho. Kumasawa laughed, just like the relatives in the dining hall who had laughed it off. She couldn't think of any other way to break through that smoke, break through the smoke veiling the current situation. Just then, the crisp sound of hands clapping twice rang through the hallway. What the fuck is his problem? Come along now! We can't just be dilly-dallying in the hallway, we have people to serve. They all turned around at once to see Goda coming out of the dining hall. Okay, everyone. When serving dinner, proper timing while setting the table is essential. Please immediately see to setting out the soup. Do it yourself, tightwad. Genji-san, the women are in the middle of an important job, so please don't get in their way. He didn't even fucking talk to Cannon! Cannon glared at Goda for being rude to Genji, a person Cannon respected. Genji, realizing this, patted Cannon once on the shoulder as a warning. Cannon reluctantly turned away and returned his expression to normal. Obey Goda's instructions. Hurry and prepare the dinner table. Come now, there's no time. Don't dawdle. Hurry. Goda grabbed the serving cart from Shannon and steadily pushed it towards the kitchen. Then please allow us to return to the kitchen. After all, Goda-san's temper is very short. Ho ho ho. Please excuse me as well. Kumasawa and Shannon left. Only Genji and Cannon remained. Through the window, the darkness of the rainy night could be seen along with the occasional thunderbolt. Genji-sama. Did Beatrice-sama really return? Oh, you guys know something? Perhaps? Question mark, eyebrow raised? I don't know. Shall I inform the master? That is not necessary. If she truly has returned, she will eventually appear before the master of her own accord. Furthermore, she is a fickle person. It would be pointless to report to the master only to find that she does not appear. I wonder if this means the master's ceremony has already begun. Probably. However, that has nothing to do with furniture like us. We must continue to return the favor we received from the master until our final moments. Yes, that is furniture's duty. Oh, the thunder crashed once more. Except for those instants when lightning lit up the sky, nothing could be seen out the window but the darkness of night. Just as humans rule when the sun is up, those that are not human rule when the sun is down. The darkness of night that now surrounded Rokenjima was ruled by another master, not the Ushiromiya family. Did this master take pity on Maria when she was alone and being pummeled by the rain in the rose garden, lending her an umbrella? Cannon looked at the rose garden's lights, dimly visible beyond the window. The dim lights weren't enough to illuminate the surrounding area. Looking at those lights felt like making eye contact with the witch, and Cannon forced himself to avert his gaze. If he didn't, it felt like his eyes would be absorbed by that light. Jesus. We're getting spooky. Can the weather change how people act? You often hear stories about how things like atmospheric pressure can influence people's moods and physical health. For some time now, everyone had been struggling to clear the gloomy atmosphere. But any conversation was quickly cut off, and in the end, the dining hall was simply filled by the sound of the rain. Dessert was some kind of chocolate cake accompanied by pear sherbet. Ew, pear. Goda-san enthusiastically explained the recipe as soon as this final dish was presented. I'll take the cake, but I quickly forgot the details. Of course you did, Battler. The guest of honor, grandfather, was absent. The weather was horrible, and the identity of the one who'd lent Maria an umbrella remained a mystery. When dinner ended, no one felt even one bit refreshed. It was too late now, but I realized painfully that taste wasn't the only important part of a meal. The whole atmosphere was also critical. Goda-san, the supposed conductor of this musical piece, called dinner. Did his best to enliven the place. Dropping little jokes left and right, but apparently not one of them succeeded. Yeah, I wouldn't fucking laugh at him either. I'd laugh at him, not with him. After taking orders for after-dinner coffee, tea, and orange juice, he left for the kitchen. As soon as he disappeared, Uncle Kraus spoke. My, what a waste that the dinner Goda worked so hard to create has met with such a gloomy atmosphere. Yes, absolutely. It just feels like nothing would taste good today. Huh. I'd like to know why you feel that way. Later on, I'll do all I can as your older brother to help cheer you up. Aunt Ava grimaced slightly. I'd already heard she wasn't on good terms with Uncle Kraus, but it was pretty clear now. When I looked around, I noticed that my father and Aunt Rosa were also grimacing. Apparently there was something besides the weather troubling all of them. Both Aunt Ava and my dad aren't looking too happy. Really? I don't think so. I asked Aunt Natsuhi, who is sitting on my right, but she seemed to be in a bad mood as well. She snapped back as if to say she was absolutely not interested. Well, our adult conversation got a little complicated. It isn't something kids like you need to worry about, Battler-kun. Isn't that right, Natsuhi-san? Kiri-san? Uncle Hideyoshi laughed as he spoke, but without his usual brightness. So I could vaguely imagine just how complicated their conversation had become. On top of that, even Aunt Natsuhi and Kiri-san, the people he had directed his comments to, ignored him as though they hadn't heard anything. I didn't know what kind of conversation they'd been having while us kids were away. But it reminded me of how Dad said he had stomach cramps when we arrived at the mansion. The family conference might have been a playful reunion to us kids, but it was definitely different for the adults. After Uncle Hideyoshi's comment was ignored by the other adults and an awkward silence fell over the room, Kiri-san spoke up. You know, I haven't seen nearly enough of Kiri-san as I'd like to. We were talking about how the kids' careers would turn out. Such is what lies in your future, Battler-kun. Will you just drift on to college? Wouldn't you that be a little disheartening as a starting line for the long race of life? Hey, wait a sec. Kiri-san, if you start talking about something like that in the middle of a meal, it won't digest well and we'd all end up getting constipated. That's right. We were talking about Battler-kun and Jessica's Chen's... Okay, now you just made it obvious you weren't talking about that. Like, come on, bro. You've got to think seriously about the future. Hideyoshi heartily agreed, as if they really had been talking about that. But that was probably wrong. Kiri-san had obviously been trying to change the subject. However, if Kiri-san had determined that this was the best course of action for now, then she was probably right. Taking this into account, I cast aside my suspicions as to the cause behind Aunt Ava and Dad's bad moods. Ooh, at long last, the serving cart returned, filled with coffee and tea. Kumasawa-san and Shannon-chan served it to everyone. Goda-san then explained that this concluded tonight's meal. If only the mood had been a bit more cheery, it might have been the best dinner in my life. It was a shame this best of dinners couldn't have been had under the best conditions. Oh, George-oni-chan's dinner over now? Over? Yes, with this dinner is finished. Don't be rude. Stay in your seat and calmly drink up. Oh. Maria looked like she was really excited by the occasionally crashing thunder. Maybe she wanted to quickly finish eating and run over to the window. She had been fidgeting for a while, waiting for the meal to end. Some people are afraid of thunder, while others find it interesting, and Maria was apparently one of the latter sort. Therefore, when she heard from George and Iki that dinner was over, a huge smile broke across her face. She then rose from her seat, took out her handbag, which she set under her seat, never having left it even while she was eating, and began fishing around inside of it. No one seemed particularly concerned by this behavior. "What's that? Where did you get it?" George was the first to notice it. "Oh, I was about to ask what is it, but I'm sure we're about to find out what it is." As he spoke, Battler noticed too. "Ooh. Ah! Okay, they saw that Maria was now holding a beautiful Western-style envelope." You guys say envelope or envelope? It changes for Dave, for me. On the front of the envelope, see, changed. The Ushirmiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, was done in gold leaf. Furthermore, the fact that it was sealed with dark red wax made it clear this wasn't something Maria could have brought as a prank. "Maria-chan, what is that?" It seemed that Natsuhi had also noticed the strangeness of the envelope Maria was holding. Her voice sounded too serious for someone admonishing a small child, so the relatives around us finally noticed too. "What happened, Natsuhine-san?" "What is that? Maria, where did you pick that up?" "That envelope has Kenzo-san's." When Nanjo muttered that, even us kids could understand why everyone seemed to be frozen solid. The envelope that Maria held was one of the Ushirmiya family head's custom-made envelopes for private use. In other words, it could only mean one thing. This envelope... I need to pick which one I want to say. This envelope contained a message from Kenzo. Huh. What is an envelope like that doing here? Now that's an interesting thing to come jumping out at us. Just let me have a peek. No way, I'll read it. I was told to read it to everyone. Uncle Hideyoshi tried to snatch the envelope out from Maria's hand, but she protected it as though hugging it and didn't let go. Hideyoshi-san, you can't use force against a child. Maria-chan, where did you get this envelope? Beatrice gave it to her when she gave her the umbrella. Oh, I got it from Beatrice when she gave me the umbrella. Wow, I never would have guessed. She told me to read it to everyone after the meal was over. I'm the witch's messenger. Is that a reference to something? Messenger? The almighty witch of the island sure likes to mess around. Battler tried to joke about it, but no one laughed. I wonder what's written inside of it, Maria-chan. Ooh, can I read it? Ooh. Maria casually opened the envelope. It was sealed only with wax, so she just had to remove the sealing wax to open it. That sealing wax fell onto the desk. Hideyoshi hastily picked it up and stared fixedly at it. He then set it in the center of the table where Natsuhi, Kiri, and Nanjo stared at it. Imprinted in the sealing wax was the one-winged eagle, which was the Ushirmiya family crest and also Kenzo's personal crest. This is the family head's personal crest. I know it from the letters I've received from Kenzo-san before. Without a doubt, this is his wax seal. But aren't there several things in this mansion bearing that crest? For example, if there was some kind of stamp for wax seals, couldn't someone other than Kenzo-san have used it? It's probably locked up in his office. No, Kenzo-san would always use a ring on his finger, his proof of the Ushirmiya family headship, when he sealed the wax. The shape and complex design is definitely Kenzo-san's seal. That is not necessarily so. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from... Oh! He threw his ring! He threw his gold ring out from the window! He was giving it to Beatrice so she could write the fucking letter! Oh my god! He threw his ring. That's how someone else got it. That's how Beatrice got it. Anyone in the family must have received a letter from father at least once. We can't eliminate the possibility that someone used that wax as a model to create a fake seal and pass themselves off as father. I agree with Aniki. No matter how much the seal resembles Dad's, we can't prove that it's the real thing. So it doesn't prove this envelope came from him. I absolutely agree. I cannot approve of arbitrarily deciding that this letter came from father, based solely on a wax seal. That's because it's not from father. That's because it's not from Kenzo. Beatrice wrote this letter. Can we let Maria read the letter? I need to know what she said. Dr. Nanjo, couldn't you use a bit more discretion with your vague words? I apologize. It was not my place to speak. One after another, all of the siblings from Kraus on downwards rejected Nanjo's statement, saying that the envelope Maria held wasn't necessarily from Kenzo. They were afraid. They feared from the bottom of their hearts that Kenzo's intentions were written in there, and that it might be some announcement regarding the inheritance that would be decidedly unfavorable to them. Maria, the person who gave you that envelope was the same person who lent you that umbrella, right? Ooh. I don't know what "ooh" means. Is it true? Yes. So in other words, the witch, Beatrice, gave Maria-chan that envelope along with the umbrella. Maria nodded forcefully. I agree with my husband. It's a dubious letter handed over by some suspicious person. It isn't even worth reading. There's nothing wrong with just reading it, right? Battler said it to Jessica in a small voice, trying to act tough, but Natsu heard him clearly and glared at him with threatening eyes. And then, Beatrice told you to read it after the meal was over. Right, Maria? Woohoo! It's okay, everyone. This envelope didn't come from grandfather, but from Beatrice. Regardless of who actually wrote it, why can't we just hear what's inside before we decide? That's right. Even if father didn't necessarily write it, I'd still like to know what's written inside. Maria-chan, I'm sorry I tried to take it from you by force earlier. I apologize, so we read it out loud in front of everyone. Maria, read it. Who? As all the relatives stared fiercely at Maria, she spread the letter open with a rustle. Do you think it really did come from Dad? Oh, I don't know, I went southern there. Ooh, my bad. Impossible. Whenever father has announced something to us in the past, he would always send Genji if he didn't do it directly, correct? I cannot believe that he would use such a joke-like approach. That's right. Maria, messenger, why is it in those? What is special about the word messenger being used? That definitely doesn't suit father's tastes. Rosa, could this be Maria-chan trying to surprise us by putting on some kind of show? Maria isn't really a kid who'd be capable of something so thoughtful. Can I read it? The words came out of Maria's mouth, but for some reason her voice seemed different from usual. Everyone went suddenly silent. What is this fuck-ass music, bro? Hello? Welcome to Rokenjima, members of the Ushiromiya family. I am Beatrice, the alchemist for this family employed by Kenzo-sama himself. That's crazy. Quiet! I have served him for many years in accordance with our contract, but on this day, Kenzo-sama has announced the final suspension of that contract. Therefore, I ask that you acknowledge my resignation from the position of family alchemist from this day forth. How foolish. What nonsense. I can't stand to listen to it. And now, there is one part of the contract that must be explained to all present. I, Beatrice, lent Kenzo-sama a vast quantity of gold under certain terms. One of these terms specifies that all the gold is to be returned to me upon the termination of the contract. Furthermore, I am to receive everything of the Ushirmiya family as interest. Ridiculous. It's been ridiculous from the very beginning. So it's basically one of those things, right? Doesn't it sound like one of those contracts with the devil? The contract has expired, so they've come to collect the interest. She trying to grab some retirement money for her old age or something? What a cheeky witch. Battler-kun, now isn't the time to joke around. Battler made a face as if to ask, if I can't make fun of this, what can I make fun of? Some of the adults' faces were pale, while the others looked dazed. After hearing this, you may feel as though Kinzo-sama has been savagely ruthless. However, Kinzo-sama did append a special clause to the contract so that you would have a chance to preserve your wealth and honor. If and only if that special clause is fulfilled, I will lose my rights to the gold and interest for all eternity. The special clause. What is it? Special clause. Beatrice retains the right to collect the gold and accumulated interest upon the termination of the contract. However, if someone is able to discover the hidden gold of this contract, Beatrice must abandon these rights for all time. The collection of the interest will proceed shortly, but if any one of you fulfills the terms of this special clause, I shall return everything, including the portion that has already been collected. Furthermore, as the first step in this collection of Kinzo-sama's debt, I have taken possession of the Ushirmiya family head's ring, which signifies the passage of the Ushirmiya family headship from one individual to another. I am so smart, guys! I'm so smart! I ask that you confirm this for yourselves by examining the imprint on the wax seal. Are they trying to claim that that's the meaning behind this seal? That father would relinquish his ring is unthinkable. Kraus stared at the sealing wax as if trying to burn a hole through it. Ava and Rudolph were doing the same over his shoulder. Come to think of it, when we were playing chess, I did have a strange feeling that something was missing from Kinzo-san's finger. Dr. Nanjo! Don't say something so careless just because of a vague memory. We can't prove its authenticity here. Only by asking Father directly can we confirm whether he really handed over his ring and whether this letter tells the truth. That's right. It's just as Kiri-san says. Do you really think Kenzo-san will tell you? After all, that person's thoughts sometimes surpass the bounds of common sense. No matter what happens, it's still nonsense. In the first place, the illusion of gold itself is one of Father's tricks. I've already heard enough talk of that gold from the rest of you. But this is the witch speaking, right? About how the inheritance and all of the assets will be handed over to the one who finds the gold, right? So maybe Beatrice-sama is Father's legal advisor or in charge of his funds. We can't possibly trust some strange person who entrusts a suspicious paper to a child. Haniki, I need you to be frank with us. Is it possible Dad's assets are being managed by someone you don't know? No, that's impossible. As the family head's representative, I control all of Father's assets. It should be impossible for anyone to do as they please with them without me knowing it. So this must mean there are some assets you don't control, right, Kraus, Nissan? How foolish! Such assets cannot possibly exist. Oh, but there is such a thing. An asset of Father's that you don't control. His gold. There is no way such a thing could exist. No, it does. It does. It's Father's, no, Beatrice's, hidden gold. Let's keep it simple. In short, Dad has some trusted confidant that Haniki doesn't even know about. Furthermore, this person has always been in charge of watching and managing the gold. Or it could be some eccentric rich person who offered him a loan with rules like a devil's contract. Could it be that this confidant called Beatrice is trying to test which of Kinzo's children is most worthy to be financed by her gold? Kiri's question was one that all the siblings wanted answered.
Upon reflection, they realized that Kinzo's strange epitaph had hung in the hall beneath the witch's portrait for quite some time. And while it had long been whispered that whoever solved the puzzle would receive everything, no one had ever clearly stated it. It was just something that everyone had hoped might be true. And right here, right now, the thing they'd hoped for had been clearly stated in Beatrice's letter. It clearly specified that everything of the Ushiromiya family would be given to the one who found the gold. Kinzo-sama has already publicly displayed the location of the hidden gold within the epitaph under my portrait. The rules apply equally to all who can read the epitaph. If you discover the gold, I shall return everything to you. Tonight, I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits with Kinzo-sama to the fullest. I sincerely pray that this night will be both intellectual and elegant. Beatrice the Golden. I heard a little ding. Oh, whoops. Hold on, wait, I pressed the wrong button. Oh, wow. Okay, jeez. Father! I know you can hear me. Please respond. The door to Kinzo's study was being violently, harshly beaten over and over again like a percussion instrument. The yells coming from the other side belonged to Kraus, Rudolph, and sometimes Ava. It was the siblings who were trying to intrude upon Kinzo's study to question him about the truth behind that mysterious letter. Kinzo was eating. An elegant tablecloth was set over the desk, and the fabulous dinner that had adorned the table down in the dining hall was reproduced here. Kinzo continued his meal in silence. Shannon, taking away an empty plate, looked uncomfortably between the door being pounded on and Kinzo's face. Everyone is calling for you, but what should I do? Leave them. God and my meals both hold silence as a virtue. Should I silence them? There's no need. It does not even reach my ears. Kinzo enjoyed his food, apparently indifferent. Genji quietly lowered his head and took a single step back. As he did, Cannon, who stood in reserve like a shadow behind and to the side of Genji, opened his mouth. Maria-sama apparently received a letter from Beatrice-sama, so I imagine they want to test its authenticity. Has she started already then? Come, Beatrice. I have no shortage of coins to be wagered. Shall we enjoy this night to the fullest? I don't think I'll lose. Your smile will be mine for all eternity. If I could see it one more time, I wouldn't regret losing my wealth, my honor, or even my life. Well then, the roulette has begun to spin. Which pocket will the ball fall into? Noir? Rouge? Or House takes all? Come, you may begin, Beatrice. I'll show you the power of miracles once more. So, 9 o'clock? Oh, 10 o'clock. Well, you know, I think this is as good a place as any to, end the episode. This? Yeah? Yeah, there was action, alright. Jesus, okay. I guess at the beginning of next episode, I will update my tier list, potentially. I don't know how often I'm gonna update it. But, you know, I'll do it occasionally, but, you know, considering what Rosa did, I do need to knock her down a few ranks for that. But, yeah. Gosh, I can't wait for next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this, slightly longer episode. I mean, I know it wasn't as long as I was hoping it'd be, but I'm starting to get a headache. I'm feeling like Natsuhi right now with my head, and I probably shouldn't be staring at a screen for much longer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next week, and bye!